Welcome back. We're talking with author James Bovard right here on WHDT. James, what are the political motivations behind policy decisions taken by the TSA?
Well, it's hard to tell what some of the true motivations are, but I think some of the folks who made some of these decisions, which have empowered agents to basically brutalize and grope American travelers who have done no wrong, I think a lot of these folks have disdain for the rights and liberties that Americans long had and were part of the founding fathers' vision for what the government should respect.
Well, you mentioned that the TSA agents are largely incompetent. They would shoot themselves if handed a gun. Do you believe that do they even know that they are violating rights, or are they just simply following along, doing their job?
Well, there's a split because there's 50,000 agents out there. There are a fair number who understand that a lot of what they're doing is simply security theater, and there are some who have spoke up and to the journalists or others and said, this doesn't really make sense. And there are some whistleblowers in the TSA ranks who have talked to the New York Times and other places and showed that certain programs are utterly trampling Americans' rights and liberties. So, as far as all the agents, I don't know. I mean, there's a fair number who are just go along and follow orders, but there's others that have tried to do the right thing and pull back the reins.
James, how prevalent is inappropriate touching during the screening process? I know I've gone through it several times, and I've definitely been goosed by some TSA agents. It's no laughing matter, but how prevalent is excessive touching?
Well, I mean, from what I've read, the enhanced pat-downs are almost designed to be punitive, almost designed to make people wish that they'd gone through the whole body scanners instead. So, in that sense, it's very prevalent because that's what the government wants you to do, to be uncomfortable and awkward and say, gee whiz, next time I'm going through their scanners. And I've heard there's a lot of TSA agents also don't like having to do that, but this is how the system has been designed. It's almost as if we are supposed to think that security can only come from maximum submission. Is
the pat-down procedure then considered a form of conditioning?
Some people have alleged that. It certainly could be, because it's always been disappointing to me ever since TSA was created to see how docile most Americans are at the airport. If there were a lot more people, speaking up and talking back, then the agents would be able to do less BS.
James, before we go, I want to get your thought on private security organizations running the airports, airport security. You mentioned that earlier. How would that look?
Well, it would look different than what we have right now, and it would not be based on treating every passenger as a closet, suicide bomber. There are ways to do this which don't involve kind of rubbing people's nose in the dirt. A lot of places in the world are already doing that, and there is no excuse for the U.S. staying with a very punitive, ineffective method.
All right, that was James Bovard right here on WHDT World News, weighing in on the TSA policies and the future of the agency. Stay tuned. We have the rest of today's headlines, all the news from Hollywood, California, and a full report on the weather coming up right here on WHDT. Stay tuned.